cannot believe we are already halfway through the year. That seems crazy to me. I just finished a 5-mile easy run. Today is officially the first day of New York City marathon training. So I thought I would kind of do a little diary series about my training block and the race itself and just everything leading up to it and kind of the highs and lows of training for a marathon. I have been just continuing with a base pace and base miles for the past few months. I haven't run a marathon in well over a year, so I've done half marathons and 5Ks and whatnot in the meantime. So I'm definitely itching to get back into a marathon series. So I thought, why not vlog it? So here we are, day one, July 1st. It will be 4 months from now that we are running the streets of New York, and I'm really excited. So throughout the week, just kind of show you what my typical routine is like in a marathon training block. Also, over the coming vlogs, we'll talk about exactly what race plans are like and planning an out-of-state race and all of that. And then after New York City Marathon, I actually have the Disney Marathon in January. So we're gonna just jump from one to the other. Let's go get cleaned up though. Okay, so I did want to interrupt this weekly vlog just to take a moment to introduce myself, say hello. A lot of you may not have been following our channel before this video, so you may not really know my backstory. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of information as we dive into week one of New York City Marathon training. So hello, my name is Amanda. My husband's name is Paul, and we currently live in the Orlando, Florida area. We are initially from Ohio, and our dog just ran in here. This is Biscotti. He is our dog. He is 8 months old and very energetic and keeps us busy, that's for sure. But yeah, so my husband and I are originally from Ohio. We moved here during COVID. My husband had gotten a job down here and I work from home. So we picked up our things, decided to make the move and come down here. We came down here quite often before that, and when everything shut down and we weren't able to travel nearly as much as we wanted to, we realized that this is just where we were meant to be. So we moved, and the last few years have just kind of been adjusting, figuring out exactly what city we wanted to live in and get situated. So we finally did that. And throughout all of this, I have maintained my love for running. So I have run, probably 11 or 12 marathons at this point. I do love running the Disney races here in Florida. I've done the Dopey Challenge 3 times. If you aren't aware of what the Dopey Challenge is, you run a 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon in consecutive days. So it's a 4-day race essentially. And really have loved those experiences. Downside to them is they are extremely expensive, especially if you are traveling from out of state. Even living here, we tend to stay on Disney property for the races just because of the transportation, and it's really easy because they're very early mornings. The races start at 5 a.m. You have to be there really early. So I am running the full marathon this coming January. So that is one of the races that I have on the docket. But I'm only running the marathon, not doing the whole Dopey Challenge this time. It just got to be a little too expensive, and we have other vacations and things that we want to do in the next couple of months and years. So really just trying to be mindful of that spending. But I also am on my 6-star marathon journey. For those of you that don't know about that, the Abbott World Majors, there's 6 marathons right now, potentially a 7th coming soon. And they are Boston, New York City, Chicago, Berlin, London, and Tokyo. And my goal is to try to get into all of the races and earn my 6-star medal. I have already run Chicago. I did that in 2021, and then I did Berlin in 2022. I actually qualified for Berlin through the lottery for 21, but deferred it just because of COVID, and I just wasn't quite ready to travel to Europe at that time. So I did do that in 2022, and then this year I got chosen in the lottery for New York City. I have been trying to get into New York City for like 10 years. So I'm just absolutely over the moon about getting to run this race through a lottery. There was about 4% of people that actually got chosen for it. So I'm just really in shock. And then we will have London, Tokyo, and Boston left. Boston, I will definitely have to do through a charity, most likely. I'm not fast enough. My goal right now is to try to break 4 hours in the marathon. And for my age bracket, I would have to cut like another half hour off of that in order to get into Boston through a qualifying time. And I just don't see that happening anytime soon. That will probably be my last one. I'm going to try to get through London, which will also probably have to be a charity just because it's so hard to get into through the lottery, and Tokyo. I did not get into London this year, no surprise there. And then Tokyo's lottery, you can't enter it until mid-August, and then they draw at the end of September. So if I were to get into Tokyo, we would obviously do that in 2025 and make a whole vacation out of it. So we would have a little bit of our race travels in there too, along with other vacations, because we also vlog trips. And if we don't do that, then we're going to do a different European vacation that we can talk about later. But back to running. I am really excited for these races. I have not done a full marathon since I ran Dopey in January of 2023. So it's been about a year and a half since I've run a full marathon. I did run a half marathon earlier this year that I'm using for proof of time for corral placement for Disney in January. And I've done a couple of 5Ks, just trying to work on some short distance and some speed work. My current PR is just over 4 hours and 11 minutes for the marathon. I did that in Berlin. It was a very challenging day for me. I was very, very, very jet lagged, and I was there for quite a few days beforehand, and I just could not sleep. I could not get into a good rhythm. It was a very hot day. It was a late start, which New York City will be as well. So I'm really just trying to kind of learn from that experience and really make sure that I'm making some progress here with this race. New York City is not a flat course. It is very hilly, which is fine. I actually do train a little bit on hills here. Florida in general is very flat, but I do have a couple of incline around me that I can really utilize in some of my training runs just to help prepare myself. Obviously, it won't be quite the same, but better than nothing. And then for the marathon in January, that will be completely flat, so that'll be great. I am looking to hopefully, I haven't had this talk yet with my coach. I also have a running coach. I've had a running coach for a couple of years now. She's fantastic. I love her. We work really well together. She's done a great job with helping me just get back to where I was with my running before we moved, because a lot of stuff happened. We lost both of our dogs to cancer, and there was just a lot that went on in that move and that transition that really made me take a step back from, running and training as much as I would have liked to. So she's really helped me get back to the fitness level that I knew that I could get to, and just to be able to maintain and have that great base to lead into these next few races. But I am hoping for New York City that I could potentially PR in that race. And then for the marathon, I am trying to work towards breaking the 4 hour mark. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how training goes. Weather always plays a huge factor in that, especially here in Florida. It is very unpredictable here in January. I've run the Disney Marathon here when it has snowed, and I have run it here when they actually cut the course short because it was so hot. I had already passed the point of where the cutoff was, so it didn't impact me. I was already on the finish line when they decided to make that decision. But it can go either way here. Even when you start the race at 5 a.m., it does not guarantee that it'll be a cool day. But I live here and I train here, so I'm very prepared for the weather that we have. It is very hot outside right now. You'll see that a lot throughout these weeks, but I actually appreciate that and I love it way more than running in the cold and the snow. When I lived in Ohio, I absolutely despised those winter runs. I really did not like doing spring marathons because of that. I just never felt comfortable running in that weather. So it's good that I live here now and I don't have to worry about that anymore. Just to give you a little bit of background on my history with the marathon is my very first marathon race was here in Disney. It was in 2010 and I had not trained properly whatsoever for this race. We had huge snowstorms every single weekend leading up to it. So the longest distance that I had done was 13 miles. So I was not prepared and I hit the wall at mile 20 and I hit it hard and I pretty much walked it in for the last 6 miles. I was doing really well up until that point and I was like, this is great, this is fantastic. But honestly, back then, you didn't have all the internet stuff that you do now. You couldn't do all the research that you can do now. I did not fuel properly. I did not train properly. I didn't have any idea what to pack for race morning. Like, I didn't do anything. I then took the next year or so to really try to work on that. And then my first real marathon that I actually trained fully for, I finished in a little over 5 hours and 45 minutes. And that was in my hometown of Akron, Ohio, which is a little bit hillier of a course, but usually it's decent weather. It's in September there. It's always pretty beautiful on the day, so can't complain about that. And then ever since then, I have just been slowly chipping away at my time. Eventually, I broke 5 hours, and then I broke 4:30 during COVID, right before we moved. I actually ran a marathon. There was only about 150 people in this race. It was on the towpath in Cincinnati, or Dayton, Cincinnati area of Ohio. It was like one of the only ones that I could find during COVID that would allow runners at that point. It was very small, like I said, and it was pretty much like just running a training run because by the time we all got started, everyone spread out and I was just pretty much running alone and it was fine. And I broke like, I want to say 20 or 30 minutes off of my PR from that race just because I spent so much time during COVID just training and using the Peloton bike and strength training, and I was probably the fittest that I ever was because there was literally nothing else to do. So the fact that I have gone back to normal life and being around other people and having a social life again after all of that and moving and then still being able to continue to break and my previous times in PR has been a miracle. Berlin was a race where I did PR by a couple of minutes, but I almost quit like 100 times. It was the most miserable experience. I did not enjoy that course. I thought it was kind of boring. It didn't have a ton of fan support, but it was a really hot day. I was trying to really push a pace earlier on to PR and it just kind of killed me and kicked me in the butt. I should have really listened to my body and pulled back earlier on and just enjoyed the race versus trying to really power through it. So then the second half of the race, I did a lot more walk run and, I still finished with a couple minutes of a PR, but I was in a lot of pain afterwards and it wasn't the most comfortable. But we are going to go through New York City a lot differently. I also am anticipating the weather being a little bit better in New York City, but you never know. We will see. And so, yeah, I have cut off more than 2 hours of my time, which has been fantastic from that very first marathon, and just looking to keep chipping away at it. If you enjoy these videos, be sure to like, subscribe. I'll be posting them every week or two throughout the whole season. I am getting more used to using the camera and picking it up throughout the week. So as time goes on, I'll be vlogging a lot more and just being a little bit more intentional about doing that versus just doing it when we're on vacation or out on Disney property and things like that. If you like Disney or you like travel vlogs, definitely come back to watch some of those videos that we have posted as well. We do tend to film quite a lot when we are in Disney, but also we are going to be doing some other traveling, and we will be sure to post all of that too. So yeah, excited to just kind of expand this channel into what I really wanted it to be from the beginning. And we actually have everything already planned out for New York City. The hotel is booked, the flights are booked, everything is done, and we will be vlogging the whole experience of just like what all we're doing while we're there. We are leaving a few days early, and just to make sure that we get there on time and doing all that. So we will share more details closer to of what that's going to look like and have all that out as well. So very excited to just kind of jump into this. I'm so chomping at the bit for this training cycle. Ask me that again in a few months if I'm ready, because that might change. But as of right now, I am just so excited to be working towards a marathon again and not a 5K or half marathon. It's my favorite distance by far. I just love hurting for a long period. All right, so with that being said, let's get back to our weekly vlog and to where we left off. And look forward to seeing you in the next couple of days and weeks and months as we get ready for New York City. Okay, it is much later in the day. It is after work on a Monday. I do work full time. I work remotely, so I do work from home, which is really nice. It makes it very convenient, but it was a very, very, very busy Monday. So after my run this morning, came back, I had some breakfast, cleaned up, had a full work day, and now just finished up a full body lift at the gym. It was very quick, only about 30 minutes. It was 3 circuits, 40 seconds of work with 20 seconds of rest, and just doing 3 rounds of each circuit. So nice, got my heart rate up. It's always 1,000 degrees in my gym. I don't know why. They have like this women's section, and that's just where I use when I just go for free weights. And that's all that I needed for today's workout. And oh my gosh, it's always so warm right there. But got it done. We're gonna go home, get cleaned up again. If you live in Florida, you just like automatically know that you shower twice in the summer, every single day. It just is what it is. And then we're going to have dinner. We pre-cooked all of our meat yesterday just so it made the work week a lot easier. So I will show you what we're having for dinner tonight, but then it's just going to be wrapping up a couple of things for work and relaxing for a little bit, taking the dog for a walk, things like that. So, but yeah, so I typically work out 4 days a week at the gym. So I run 4 days, I lift 4 days, and then I do 1 day where I do some cross training, which is tomorrow. So that's my split at this time. I have 2 full rest days, which are Thursdays and Sundays. That may eventually change when we get into heavier distance. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But all right, I'm gonna go home, have a quick protein shake, and clean up. Okay, so I'm preparing dinner. I did microwave this butternut squash for a few minutes just to soften it because it was frozen. And then I will bake it in the oven for about 20 minutes. And then we're doing little mini burger sliders. So we pre-cooked these. I'm gonna heat those up in the microwave once the butternut squash is done. And then I made our little burger fixings. We love using the secret sauce. It's so good. And then you combine it with a little fig spread. We actually got this idea from Geyser Point in Disney. Their burger is set up similar to that, and we just recreate it. Paul loves sharp cheddar cheese, and I like American, so just doing it to our liking, and then easily, quickly throw this together once the butternut squash is done. Wednesday. I didn't really vlog yesterday because it was an extremely busy work day and I just didn't have time to pick up the camera, but I am about to go out for my 5-mile run. Wednesdays tend to be my quality session days where I have a little bit more speed work worked in. We're not doing a ton of speed work right now. The first block of marathon training for me is going to be really focusing on building up endurance and miles, with just a little bit of speed work worked in. So every once in a while she'll throw in like strides at the end of my runs and whatnot. But today is a 1.5 mile warm up, 2 miles at marathon pace, and then a 1.5 mile cool down. It is already almost 80 degrees outside, so that's awesome. I am bringing a handheld with me today. This is Element. I didn't do a whole pack because I've not used this a ton. I usually use Scratch in the summer, but I did the Watermelon Element. It has so much sodium and it's like, it's hard for me to drink. So I actually did a little bit less of a whole pack because it's 1,000 milligrams, and for a 5-mile run, I don't need that much. So I did half the pack, so we'll see how that does on my stomach. And that's it. So I'm gonna get my headphones on, head out, get this run done. We also have fireworks tonight for the holiday, so I'm gonna go out, get this run done, come back. I'm probably gonna do my leg workout at home this morning and do it right after my run versus waiting until after work today because of the fireworks. And I also have a dentist appointment this afternoon, and so it's just gonna be a busy day. So I just wanna get it out of the way so that I don't skip it. And something is better than nothing, right? So an at-home workout with lighter weights is just going to have to do. All right, I'm gonna go get this done and I'll check in with you. That was a very warm run. All right, I am back from my run. It was nice and toasty, but that's just how it's gonna be for the next few months, so no sense in complaining about it. I am going to head upstairs and get in my lift before work starts, which I have about an hour to do all of that. So on schedule. That run did not feel good. If you have the Weather Channel app, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it has running condition scoring, and it's on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like the best running conditions and 1 being the worst. Normally, when I run in the morning this time of year, it's around a 4 or 5. Today was a 1. So it was definitely miserable. I actually got out a little bit later than normal because I'm off today. I wanted to sleep in a little, kind of regretting that decision. I definitely will not do that tomorrow for my long run, but we got it done. 5 miles in the books. I don't know if I'm gonna go to the gym today or not. Normally I do, but it's day off and it's a holiday weekend and I kind of want to just have some fun today. We're thinking of going and getting some different plants for our yard. We have these oak trees that are really ugly that came with the house, and we want to replace them with something else. I know a lot of the nurseries around here will do swaps, so they'll discount whatever tree you purchase if you give them your tree, and that way it's getting reused somewhere else that, you know, someone else that can benefit from it. So that is the, I think, game plan today. I will update you a little bit more later on. And then what's better than coming home to this face? Oh, look at that guy. Hi, baby. You have lamb chop? I know this doesn't look super appealing, but this is a warm chicken salad that I make on a regular basis of some variation for lunch. So it's just Greek yogurt, a Laughing Cow, cheese wedge, just different seasonings depending on the flavoring combination that I want. So today I did a little bit of hot sauce, taco seasoning, some salsa, and just mixed that up, and then added some chicken, and then I had cabbage and carrots, so I just did that for my vegetables. I just put in whatever I have on hand so I don't waste anything. I'll put it over a tortilla and have a side of fruit, and that is a very typical lunch for me. All right, 8 miles, check, done, complete. And that wraps up week 1 of New York City Marathon training. That run felt super easy breezy. It didn't feel nearly as humid today as yesterday. A little bit more airflow, which was really nice. Still warm, but whatever. Definitely enjoyed that one. I also tried the Science and Sport gel. It went down really easy because it was very watery, which I really liked. Not the jello-y consistency of Morton, which I can't stand. So the flavor, very mild. I had the tropical today, just a very hint of it. So no stomach issues, everything went super well. So very excited about that because I bought quite a few of them. And yeah, so we'll keep practicing and keep it going through next week. So I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna email my running coach about my week and get the rest of the day going. Good afternoon, it is now Sunday. I have been really bad about picking up the camera and vlogging, but today is a rest day. We went to Disney Springs earlier to just grab a couple of things that we wanted that are at stores that's actually like the closest place to get to. But we are home now. Paul is actually grilling up all of our meat for the week. And let's see, he already grilled up some things, like here, I'll show you. He cooked up some sausage here. This is going to go with some gnocchi that I bought and some zucchini and like an Alfredo-y sauce. So that'll be one dinner for the week. Also, we did some burgers. So we will have burgers, and that little tiny one is for this guy because he loves having a puppy patty. And then on the grill, we have some chicken. All right, so we have, this is like a pineapple teriyaki chicken, and it goes really well with broccoli, pineapple, and rice. And that is a citrus chicken, and we like to put that over salads. So yeah, just taking Sunday to really prepare for the week, just to make sure that everything goes smoothly. I do have a run first thing in the morning, so I will be getting to bed on time today. Excuse me, baby. I also wanted to take a moment and just show you some of the fuel that I use on my runs, because I just did a big haul with the feed. They had a sale over Memorial Day weekend where you got like store credit if you bought at that time. And there were a couple things I had never had before that I wanted to try. So I wanted to go ahead and show you my bin that I have here. I'm trying Element. I know this is like the new big thing. The sodium content kind of messes with my stomach a little bit. So I've actually been doing half packets versus a whole one on my runs. And that's been working out so much better. But I do enjoy it. Normally I do Scratch, and I might still buy some Scratch just to have that on hand because it does sit a little bit better. My absolute favorite were these Noon Instants, but they discontinued it. And this is my last one, and I'm like holding on to it for when I know that I really need it. And then I also got the Science and Sport gels. I have not tried these before until yesterday's run, and these are the ones that are on the New York City Marathon course, so I wanted to give them a go. And I had one yesterday, really liked it, sat very well with my stomach, never had problems the rest of the day, so that was great. The only downside is that these are, I think, a little lower in calories and carbohydrates than maybe a Morton gel would be, but they're also big. Like, they're just so large that carrying these is gonna be a little much. I also we'll do Honey Stinger Chews, and these are great when you just kind of need a different texture or flavor. I also use Noon Instant on the runs that aren't quite as hot or they're shorter. I am an ambassador with Noon. I am an ambassador for both Noon and Honey Stinger. I really like both of their products. I use them very frequently. This is not sponsored. This is not a paid advertisement, nothing along those lines, but I do get a discount code when I purchase their products and, you know, post about it on Instagram and things like that. So I really do love them, and they work certain times of year, certain seasons of running for me. So I will probably throughout the summer mix in the Honey Stinger Chews, these Science and Sport Gels, and then have them on race day. So I'm continuing to do what I practice, nothing new on race day. So yeah, that was my last haul from the feed. Wanted to try some things out before I order in a larger bulk. And here comes the meat. I usually make my breakfast every single day in the morning, but this week I know is going to be an extremely busy week. I have meetings almost back to back every single day, and I am going to actually try to make my normal eggs, but bake them up in advance. So I have the oven preheating, and I'm just gonna make what I would normally make and just put it in this dish form instead of just cooking eggs in a pan every single day. So I'm gonna show you what all we got here. So first off, I like spinach, and then sun-dried tomatoes. Then I also use feta, and then egg whites, usually because I cook in olive oil. And then I always have toast on this. Okay, so let's mix this up and get it into the oven. So there we go. We have spinach, sun-dried tomato, feta, egg white, and everything but the bagel seasoning. And here's the final product. So this will be 4 separate breakfasts. All right, I think I'm going to wrap up this week's vlog. Like I mentioned before, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you can come back for week 2 and see how it goes. In total, ran 23 miles this week, strength trained 3 times, rode the bike 1 day. So good, well-balanced week. Lots of walks with the doggy. So all the movement is there. Got through the holiday weekend and a bit more back to normal on Monday. So we will see you next time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.